Australia. Land of unique animals. Land of coral reefs. Land of deserts and ancient culture. A kangaroo leaps through the desert. The ocean bathes thousands of pristine white beaches. The cities shine along the oceanic coasts. Welcome to Australia. Welcome to the smallest continent in the world. Known as the land of kangaroos, this is a place where deserts stretch to infinity, where unique animals inhabit wild nature, and where the world's largest coral reef barrier exists. But let's start from the beginning. Australia extends over 7.7 million square kilometers, or 3 million square miles, standing as the world's largest island. While geographically close to Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, and East Timor, it is separated by vast oceanic expanses from major population centers, which makes it one of the most isolated continents. The beating heart of this land is the outback, an immense desert and semi-desert expanse that dominates approximately 70% of the territory. Here you can drive for hours without encountering a living soul, while 90% of Australians take refuge along the coast, leaving the interior practically uninhabited. Yet behind this desert image hides an extraordinary climatic diversity. From the tropical rainforests of Queensland to the Mediterranean climate of southern Australia, up to the snow that blankets the Australian Alps, this continent defies every expectation. Along its endless coasts stretch over 10,000 beaches, so many that you could visit a different one every day for 27 consecutive years. Among these wonders emerges the Great Barrier Reef, a UNESCO heritage site that, with its 2,300 kilometers or 1,429 miles, establishes itself as one of the largest in the world. Australian nature finds refuge in over 500 national parks, which cover approximately 28 million hectares, or 69 million acres, protecting a treasure of unique biodiversity. % of Australian fauna is not found elsewhere in the world. Kangaroos, koalas, platypus, echidna, and the Tasmanian devil inhabit this land as if they were creatures from another planet. The numbers, moreover, tell incredible stories. There are approximately 50 million kangaroos and 150 million sheep that far exceed the 25 million human beings, as if each Australian had their own small personal flock of 6 sheep and 2 kangaroos. But Australia also harbors 10 of the world's 20 most venomous snakes, reminding us that beauty here always coexists with respect for nature. Continuing, here even Christmas becomes a unique experience. December 25th, in fact, is summer in Australia. And Australians celebrate with beach barbecues while Santa Claus sports a surf suit. In this scenario, we find an extraordinary melting pot of cultures, with people coming from almost 200 different countries who have made this land their home. But it is the Australian Aboriginals who guard the most precious treasure, namely the world's oldest living culture, with over 65,000 years of continuous history. They have developed the oldest known rock art and possess deep spiritual knowledge of the territory, while the didgeridoo, made from hollow logs, remains the beating heart of their millennial ceremonies. Australia, therefore, is much more than a simple continent. It is an entire world, a place that continues to tell its story to anyone who has eyes to see and heart to feel. But now let's go discover the most incredible and iconic places of this nation. Great Ocean Road. A scenic road that winds for approximately 240 kilometers or 149 miles along the southeastern coast of Australia, built by World War I veterans as a memorial to the fallen. The route crosses very varied landscapes, including sandy beaches, forests, and cliffs overlooking the ocean. The main attraction is the 12 Apostles, which are imposing rock formations shaped by wind and sea, of which only 8 now remain clearly visible. In the stretch near Kennett River instead, it is frequent to spot wild koalas on eucalyptus trees. The Great Ocean Road is a very symbolic route for Australians, beloved both for its natural beauty and for its historical value. Daintree Rainforest. In northern Queensland lies one of Earth's oldest rainforests. Its plants have remained almost unchanged for millions of years, preserving prehistoric plant species still visible today. Suspended walkways among the trees allow exploration of this unique ecosystem, inhabited by the rare cassowary, which is an endemic flightless bird, and by brightly colored butterflies. The Daintree River flows through the forest to the coast, creating surprising landscapes where the jungle meets the coral sea. This area is an invaluable natural heritage, being one of the few places in the world where 2 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, namely the forest and the coral reef, meet. Blue Mountains. A few kilometers or miles from Sydney are found these mountains, which take their name from their bluish color, caused by eucalyptus oils that evaporate into the air. The region is crossed by scenic trails that lead to spectacular viewpoints, such as Echo Point, from which to observe the iconic rocks called the Three Sisters. This rock formation is linked to Aboriginal legends, still passed down today. Numerous waterfalls, caves, and canyons make the place suitable for adventure and in trekking enthusiasts. The area is also rich in Aboriginal rock paintings, which are historical testimonies of the culture that inhabited these highlands, thousands of years before the arrival of Europeans. Melbourne. The cultural capital of Australia is known for its vibrant artistic and gastronomic scene. Alleys covered with street art alternate with elegant Victorian architecture, telling the colonial past of the city. The numerous parks, such as the Royal Botanic Gardens, offer green spaces in the urban heart. Walking through its streets means immersing yourself in a unique atmosphere, between coffee shops hidden in alleys and historic trams that cross the center. Melbourne is also home to international sporting events, such as the Australian Open Tennis and the Formula One Grand Prix. This metropolis has won the title of world's most livable city several times, thanks to excellent quality of life and cultural diversity. Great Barrier Reef. The Great Barrier Reef is the planet's largest coral formation, visible even from space. It extends for over 2,300 kilometers, or 1,429 miles, along the Australian northeastern coast. This complex ecosystem hosts thousands of marine species, including green turtles, whale sharks, and giant manta rays. The area is a preferred destination for diving and snorkeling, allowing exploration of seabeds rich in colors and biodiversity. However, the reef is facing the problem of coral bleaching due to climate change. Various conservation programs seek to preserve this heritage, fundamental for ocean health and the entire planet. Sydney. The most recognizable face of Australia in the world, famous for the iconic Opera House with its unmistakable sail-like structure. The Harbour Bridge connects the city center with the northern part, offering spectacular views of the bay. The beaches instead, such as the famous Bondi Beach, represent the perfect Australian lifestyle between surfers and relaxation lovers. Walking through its lively streets, you breathe the cosmopolitan energy of a metropolis that knows how to combine modernity and tradition in every corner. Sydney's neighborhoods, in fact, reflect the multicultural soul of the city. For example, there is the Circular Quay waterfront, which pulses with life with restaurants and ferries that sail the bay, while the Queen Victoria building enchants with its Victorian architecture and elegant boutiques. Whitsunday Islands. An archipelago in the heart of the Great Barrier Reef, formed by 74 tropical islands, many of which are uninhabited. All are characterized by white beaches and crystal clear water, ideal for diving and snorkeling. Whitehaven Beach is the most famous thanks to its white sand composed almost entirely of pure silica, which doesn't retain heat. Hill Inlet, not far away, offers suggestive panoramas, with tides that draw ever-changing shapes on the sand. The islands were first explored by Captain Cook in 1770, who named them as such because he believed he had discovered them on Whitsunday. The area, moreover, is protected as a national and marine park, and sailing is one of the most popular ways to explore it. Kakadu National Park. Kakadu is Australia's largest national park, located in the so-called Northern Territory. It is famous for its biodiversity, with wetlands, tropical forests, and rivers populated by saltwater crocodiles. Aboriginals have lived in this region for over 50,000 years, and the park hosts some of the world's oldest rock art sites, such as Ubir and Norlangi, with paintings that tell ancient stories. During the rainy season, numerous waterfalls form in the rocky gorges, creating spectacular natural scenery. Kakadu is also the ideal place to observe hundreds of bird species, including herons, jabiru, and sea eagles. Some areas are accessible only by off-road vehicles or through organized excursions, making the experience unique and authentic. Perth and the western coast. Overlooking the Indian Ocean, Perth is one of the world's most isolated cities, surrounded by beaches like Cottesloe and Scarborough. The city center is modern and orderly, with large green areas like Kings Park, which is one of the planet's largest urban parks, with breathtaking views of the skyline. Fremantle, a port district with colonial charm, hosts lively markets and historic venues. Leaving the city, northward lies the Pinnacles Desert, characterized by limestone formations that emerge from the sand. Even further north, Ningaloo Reef is Western Australia's most accessible coral reef, where it's possible to swim with whale sharks and manta rays. This coast is a combination of vibrant cities, wild nature, and pristine beaches, still less frequented compared to the eastern coast. Australian outback. The outback is Australia's arid and wild heart. A boundless territory dominated by red earth deserts and ancient rocks. Here stands the iconic Uluru, considered sacred by Aboriginals and symbol of the continent. Beyond this monolithic rock, the outback hosts Kings Canyon, with vertical walls up to 300 meters or 984 feet high. Scattered across the desert are cattle stations, some as large as small countries where isolated communities live. Alice Springs is the main town, reference point for excursions, and logistical base for exploring the region. Despite seeming like a desolate region, the outback possesses surprising biodiversity. In fact, we find red kangaroos, emus, and reptiles adapted to extreme conditions. Hobart in Tasmania. Hobart is Tasmania's capital, situated along the Derwent River estuary at the foot of Mount Wellington, which dominates the city with its 1,271 meters, or 4,170 feet. Founded in 1804, it is one of Australia's oldest cities, with well-preserved historic buildings, especially in the Port District of Salamanca Place, famous for the weekly market of crafts and local products. Tasmania, instead, is known for its wild nature, with over 1/3 of the territory protected by national parks. Cradle Mountain and Freycinet National Park offer hiking trails, immersed among forests and solitary beaches. From the rugged cliffs of the eastern coast to the glacial valleys of the interior, every corner of the island offers spectacular and pristine scenery. Brisbane and Gold Coast. Brisbane is a dynamic, young, and continuously expanding city situated along the winding banks of the river of the same name. The South Bank district is the cultural heart, with art galleries, restaurants, and an urban artificial beach. Not far away, the Gold Coast extends with kilometers or miles of sandy coast, renowned for surfing, and the vibrant nightlife of surfers' paradise. The hinterland instead hosts Lamington National Park, with rainforests, waterfalls, and wildlife. This combination of city life, sea, and nature makes the area a popular year-round destination, with tourist offerings suitable for every type of visitor. Uluru and the Red Centre. In Australia's arid heart emerges Uluru, a gigantic rock formation, approximately 350 meters or 1,148 feet high, symbol of Anangu Aboriginal culture. This sandstone monolith changes hues at sunset and sunrise thanks to the rock's minerals. Not far away rises Katachuta, a formation composed of 36 rock domes, also sacred to local populations. The surrounding territory, called Red Centre for its red earth, is a wild, remote, and pristine space. Today, responsible tourism supports the local community, which shares with visitors their traditions and the spirituality connected to this land. Sunshine Coast. Located in southern Queensland, is famous for its relaxed atmosphere and mild climate year-round. Along approximately 60 kilometers, or 37 miles of coast, It alternates wide sandy beaches with quiet hidden bays. Noosa is one of the most popular locations, with fashionable shops, seaside restaurants, and nature trails in the homonymous national park, where it's possible to spot koalas in the wild. Not far away, the Glasshouse Mountains rise suddenly from the flat landscape. These volcanic peaks have extremely important spiritual value for the area's Aboriginals. Adelaide and Barossa Valley. Adelaide is a city with elegant character, surrounded by parks, gardens, and tree-lined streets. Founded in 1836 by English colonists, today it is known for its vibrant artistic and cultural scene, with festivals and events that enliven it year-round. Just north extends the Barossa Valley, one of Australia's most renowned wine regions, famous for its Shiraz wines. The area is dotted with small villages, founded by German immigrants in the 19th century, whose culinary and architectural traditions are still evident. Here, wineries offer guided tastings, pairing fine wines with local gastronomic products. Ningaloo Coral Reef. On Australia's remote western coast lies the Ningaloo Coral Reef, a UNESCO heritage site approximately 260 kilometers, or 162 miles long. The coral reef is easily reachable from the beach, making it perfect for diving and snorkeling. It is especially known for the presence of whale sharks, which are the world's largest fish, with which it's possible to swim between April and July. Besides this peaceful giant, it's frequent to encounter manta rays, sea turtles, and dolphins. The surrounding territory with semi-desert landscapes and sand dunes is sparsely inhabited and still very wild. Darwin and the top end. Darwin, tropical capital of the Northern Territory, is a meeting point between different cultures, ranging from Aboriginal traditions to Asian influences. The city has been rebuilt twice. The first was after World War II bombings, and the second after the devastating Cyclone Tracy of 1974. Today it is a modern city known for its night markets and outdoor life. Around it extends the top end, a tropical climate region, rich in waterfalls, swamps, and national parks like Litchfield and Kakadu. This area is natural habitat for saltwater crocodiles, hundreds of bird species, and offers guided excursions to deepen local Aboriginal culture. Kangaroo Island. Located just off the southern Australian coast, is a natural sanctuary that protects many native species. Despite its name, the island hosts much more than simple kangaroos. Here, in fact, you can observe koalas, echidnas, wallabies, and numerous sea lion colonies. Most of the territory is protected by natural parks, such as Flinders Chase, famous for the remarkable rocks, which are spectacular rocks sculpted by wind and water. This biodiversity makes the island a precious place for Australian fauna conservation. Margaret River Region. In southwestern Australia, Margaret River is a wine region famous for its Cabernet Sauvignon and Chardonnay vineyards. Here, nature offers a unique combination, including centuries-old forests, limestone caves, and beaches frequented by professional surfers. The region, in fact, is also renowned for surfing, especially at Surfers Point, where a World Championship stage takes place annually. Walking along the coast, moreover, it's easy to spot migrating whales from June to November. This combination of good food, excellent wine, and natural beauty makes it an ideal destination to explore the authentic side of Western Australia. Canberra. Australia's capital, designed from scratch in 1913, is an example of modern urban planning. Surrounded by hills, parks, and artificial lakes, the city was built according to a precise scheme that integrates architecture and nature. The Australian Parliament, political heart of the nation, rises on Capitol Hill, offering a panoramic view of the city. Among the most important museums stands out the National Museum of Australia, which tells the country's history through symbolic objects. Canberra is also a place rich in greenery, such as Lake Burley Griffin, which is located in the city centre, and is frequented by cyclists and kayak enthusiasts. Flinders Ranges National Park. Located in the heart of South Australia state, Flinders Ranges National Park offers a landscape of ancient mountains and deep gorges. This mountain chain, formed over 500 million years ago, is among the world's oldest. Wilpena Pound, which is a huge natural amphitheater, dominates the landscape with its high rock walls. Here live numerous Australian species, such as emus, grey kangaroos, and wedge-tailed eagles. Some park sites contain fossil evidence of prehistoric creatures, such as Dickinsonia, which lived approximately 560 million years ago. Well-marked trails allow excursions and trekking, crossing eucalyptus woods and silent valleys. The Kimberley. It is one of the most remote and pristine regions of Australia, located in the far northwest of the continent. Characterized by wild and spectacular landscapes, they host deep gorges, waterfalls that flow impetuously during the rainy season, and fascinating rock paintings. In some coastal areas extend the so-called mud sand flats, which are muddy and sandy plains shaped by tides that emerge during low tide and disappear with high tide. These environments, fundamental for the ecosystem, attract numerous migratory birds and host rich marine biodiversity. The region is also crossed by the Gibb River Road, a dirt road over 600 kilometers, or 373 miles long, that connects isolated farms and indigenous communities. The Kimberley perhaps represent the most authentic and harsh essence of the Australian outback, while preserving traditions and biodiversity. Byron Bay. A small center on Australia's eastern coast, known for its alternative and relaxed atmosphere. Famous for surfing in the hippie culture of the 60s, today it is a destination for travelers seeking a slower and more authentic lifestyle. Here stands Cape Byron Lighthouse, the easternmost point of the entire Australian continent, perfect for spotting migrating whales and dolphins. In the surrounding hinterland instead, green hills and organic farms complete the picture. Broom. In northern Western Australia, Broome is surrounded by some of the country's most spectacular coastal stretches, thanks to its iconic red beaches. Riddell Beach, south of the city, is a secluded bay framed by cliffs, where the intense red of rock and sand creates a sharp contrast with the ocean's turquoise. It is a quiet place, not crowded, ideal for walking and admiring the sunset. Further north, James Price Point offers an even wilder landscape. Imposing cliffs of brilliant red rise above deserted beaches shaped by wind and tides. This stretch of coast, remote and pristine, is one of the most recognizable symbols of this region. Fraser Island. Fraser is the world's largest sand island, located off the Queensland coast. Declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it hosts a unique rainforest grown directly on sand. Crystal-clear freshwater lakes, such as the famous Lake Mackenzie, are the result of rain slowly filtered by the sand itself. The island's beaches, long and deserted, are natural habitat for Australian dingoes and are the only way to explore the island, necessarily by off-road vehicle. The wreck of the Maheno ship, finally, which ran aground in 1935, is now one of the most photographed attractions. Cape Hillsborough National Park. Cape Hillsborough, in central Queensland, is known for a unique natural spectacle. At sunrise, in fact, kangaroos and wallabies descend to the beach to feed on marine algae, creating memorable scenes. The national park includes a subtropical forest that extends to the sea, rich in trails that offer panoramic glimpses of beaches and green hills. Numerous volcanic rocks dot the coast, testimony to the area's geological origin. Besides marsupials, it's frequent to spot sea turtles and numerous coastal birds. Eyre Peninsula. A region of wild coasts and clear waters, best known for experiences related to marine wildlife. At Port Lincoln, in fact, known as Australia's seafood capital, it's possible to dive with great white sharks protected by a cage, or swim freely with sea lions and dolphins. The deserted beaches, characterized by large sand dunes, are ideal places to practice surfing or sport fishing. In the western hinterland, finally, lies Lake McDonald, one of Australia's most scenic pink lakes, where high salt concentration and the presence of particular algae create intensely pink water in sharp contrast with the nearby sea's turquoise. Concluding this visual journey through Australia, we have moved from the charm of its varied landscapes to the most famous icons of its coastal cities, discovering together not only places, but also curiosities that make every corner of this continent unique. We hope that the images and stories told have enriched your knowledge and stimulated the desire to personally explore the extraordinary beauty of this nation.